Alongside Greg Barnes of Inside Carolina, I'm Ross Martin with Inside Carolina. It's tournament time, Greg. The Tar Heels wrapped up the regular season. They lost to Duke here in Cameron Indoor following a loss at Miami. They now move to Brooklyn, the Barclays Center for the ACC Tournament. We know they're going to play Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. against the winner of Syracuse and Wake Forest. Both teams they beat once this season. They beat Syracuse up there in New York and beat Wake Forest early in the ACC season at home. How do you think those two teams kind of match up with the Heels?
Well, I think kind of the key point is that North Carolina beat both those teams, as you said, but by 4 points each game. And both teams have big guys in the middle. And I think Darrell Moore was a factor in that first game against the Demon-Deacons back in December. He's playing a lot better now, even though Wake Forest is not a very good team. And everybody remembers what happened up in Syracuse last week. So it's not a gimme by any stretch, but North Carolina is going to have to do a good job of kind of getting those guys into foul trouble if they can, not being scared of going at the basket. They've had to play some very tall guys lately, and that's going to be something they're going to have to deal with moving forward. But execute offensively, play better defensively, we've seen in the last couple games. I think that'll be the key for them.
Yeah, and a 9:30 tip-off on a school night, that's tough for anybody. And then if they win that game, they're not looking too far ahead, they'll face Miami, the team they lost to on senior night in Chapel Hill. What challenges do the Hurricanes pose? Obviously, it's a team they've seen in the last week.
Right, and I think the bracket sets up well because there is that revenge factor.
Sure.
I mean, not only Miami, but if you win that game, you got Duke in the semifinals. But I think the fact what Miami did so well is that they were able to penetrate. And they shot 55% or whatever it was against the Tar Heels in winning that game. And so North Carolina has got to play better defense. We talked about it all year long, on-ball defense, ball screen defense. Miami executed perfectly almost against UNC in that game. And that's going to be the key factor for the Tar Heels.
Yeah, and of course, if they win that game, they'll move to the semifinals on Friday against Duke or whoever wins that side of the bracket. In the locker room after the game, it was all about moving on from this loss against Duke and looking towards postseason time. UNC has 2 seniors, 2 juniors who've been there, been to Final Four, so the experience is there to make a run in the playoffs.
Yeah, a couple things. Number one, Dean Smith was always a proponent of the idea that you build momentum once you get into a tournament. So forget what happened against Miami, forget what happened here against Duke. Once you start ACC tournament, you turn the page. And so you have to slowly work into it and build your way up. So I think mentally for the experienced guys, that won't be an issue. The other factor is physically. I mean, we're talking about North Carolina having to win 4 games in 4 days. I know Duke did it last year. UNC's guys are not used to playing as many minutes that they've been having to play this year. And it's going to be very taxing for them to try to win the ACC tournament, having to play that many minutes.
Well, we know they can win 3 games in 5 days, so maybe that's kind of a good test for the Heels. That's it for us here. Ross Martin with Inside Carolina alongside Greg Barnes.